Welcome back to Ignorantly Correct, the only podcast where we say the thing everybody's thinking but nobody wants to say out loud. Today's episode is called Everybody Wants Luxury and Nobody Wants Discipline. I am your host, T. Anderson, also known as Tiffany Anderson, better known as T. Blanco. Everybody wants the six figures, everybody wants the luxury apartment, everybody wants designer clothes, and everybody wants followers. Everybody wants influence, and everybody wants respect. But very few people want the discipline required to earn any of it. We're living in an era where people care more about looking successful than becoming successful. So let's talk about it. In our first segment, which I call Looking the Part versus Being the Part, everybody wants to be an expert. Everybody wants to be a coach. Everybody wants to be an influencer. Everybody wants to teach. But nobody wants to be a student anymore. Somewhere along the way, we've stopped asking people what they've actually done and started asking how many followers they have. We've become a society that mistakes visibility for credibility. If enough people know your name, we assume you know what you're talking about. And if enough people share your content, we assume you're qualified. And enough people clap for you, we assume you've earned the stage. And that's where things get dangerous for real, y'all. Because popularity and expertise are not the same thing. For real, for real. 1 million followers doesn't equal 1 million facts. Now, one of the biggest conversations online, as of recently, of course, Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, basically began with questions circulating regarding her credentials and whether or not the public was being misled about her qualification. Now, recently, Tyler Perry made a statement at an award show or ceremony stating that, hey, we got to get off her back, y'all. Leave her alone. We got bigger fish to fry out here. I don't think that was probably the best message from the wrong messenger, pretty much, right? So, at the same time, she recently made headlines after stating that black people who try to cancel other black people are not acting Christ-like, and that cancel culture is often representation of jealousy. Now, regardless of where you stand on either issue, it raises a much bigger question because this isn't really about one person. This is about all of us. It's about what we value. It's about who we trust. And it's about how quickly the influence can become more important than the expertise overall. Excuse me, y'all. Now, when did perception become more valuable than proof? When did confidence become more important than competence? And when did followers become more important than facts? Because let's be honest, we live in a society right now where people trust confidence more than competence. And if people or if somebody speaks loudly enough or posts enough motivational quotes and gets enough views, they have enough followers, drive a real nice car, take enough vacations, use enough hashtags and buzzwords, in 2026, we automatically assume they know what they're talking about. They know what they're doing. And that's dangerous, y'all. It's real dangerous because confidence can't be practiced. Because confidence, can be practiced, for real. Influence can be purchased. Followers can be bought, but expertise, guys, it takes years. Years to really get expertise, experience, boot to ground. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people feel like just because they know something or read a book about it, they know something. That's not expertise. It's really taking on experiences and really getting a grasp of what you're talking about. We've reached a point where people trust Instagram more than institutions. A person can post a quote over ocean waves and suddenly they're a trauma specialist. Apparently healing now comes with a ring light, like the one I got right here. You don't need a doctorate anymore, y'all. You just need good lighting like I got, a microphone, a luxury background, and a catchy caption. Is it hypocrisy or accountability for real? That's the question. Now here's where things get real interesting because while Dr. Bryant was discussing cancel culture and saying that people who try to cancel others are often acting out of jealousy, many of the people listening were asking a completely different question, just like myself. Because if your credentials are being questioned, if your expertise is being questioned, if your title is being questioned, is that jealousy or is that accountability? Because those are two completely different things. And sometimes people intentionally blur the line, such as she did, right? So let's take a look at what she was talking about real quick, y'all. So just listen.
Black people trying to cancel black people. I think that is disgusting. I think it's sick. I think that it's a representation of jealousy and enviousness. I think that it's for folks who believe in God, it is not Christ-like. I think it creates a deeper division between us. There's bigger things that we can get together and cancel that can benefit us collectively, and those things are not each other. I really hope that that is something that people shift, because even with them trying to cancel everybody, Chris Brown's one of them. Didn't work. Reverse Uno. My boy is selling out tours.
See, this is where hypocrisy enters the conversation, y'all. It's easy to call criticism jealousy when you're the one being criticized. Like, let's keep it a buck, y'all. It's easy to call accountability hate when accountability shows up at your front door, but if you're asking people to trust your advice, trust your expertise, or trust your guidance, then shouldn't people have the right to ask questions? Shouldn't people have the right to verify who they're listening to? Shouldn't people have the right to challenge the messenger? I'm a little confused. You know what I'm saying? Like,
he's spending time with his kids. Everybody does.
What is one trend that you want to see retired in 2026?
Black people trying to cancel black people. I think that is disgusting. I think it's sick. I think that it's a representation of jealousy and enviousness. I think that it's for folks who believe in God, it is not Christ-like. I think it creates a deeper division between us. There's bigger things that we can get together and cancel that can benefit us collectively, and those things are not each other. I really hope that that is something that people shift, because even with them trying to cancel everybody, Chris Brown's one of them. Didn't work. Reverse Uno. My boy is selling out tours. He done got his master's, his doctorate. He's spending time with his kids and his family. He's living. He's living, and he deserves grace. Everybody does.
So it's easy to call accountability hate when accountability shows up at your front door. But if you're asking people to trust your advice, trust your expertise, and trust your guidance, then shouldn't people have the right to ask questions? Shouldn't people have the right to verify who they're listening to and who they're getting their advice from, and especially if they're paying for it? Shouldn't people have the right to challenge the messenger? Like I said, especially if they're paying for a service, baby. I'm the customer. Shoot, I'm always right. We've reached the point where asking for proof is considered disrespect. Come on, y'all. Imagine going to a bank, the bank asks for a proof of income, and I go in and respond, well, girl, you jealous. Imagine me applying for a job and the employer asks for my qualifications, and I say, you sound like a hater, boo. That's not, come on, y'all, that's not how reality works. That's called due diligence. Duh. Not every person questioning you is jealous. Some people genuinely want the truth. They want answers. And some people want receipts. They want transparency. And if your entire brand is built around credibility, then your credibility is going to be examined no matter what, especially if you're doing it in the public eye. That's the price of influence, for real. You don't get the benefits of being an authority figure without accepting the scrutiny that comes with it. Come on now. That just means you're doing what that guy in the office is doing. Make it make sense. Everybody loves accountability until accountability applies to them. Everybody wants transparency, until somebody asks them a question. Everybody wants the truth until the truth becomes uncomfortable. Let's talk about it. Now, you know what's crazy? We'll spend 3 hours reading Yelp reviews before ordering chicken wings. We'll compare the prices. We'll read the comments. We'll check the ratings. Shoot, I'm one of the ones, I'll even look at the pictures. I'm swiping, y'all, because I want to see how that food look. But then we'll turn around and let somebody on Instagram tell us how to heal our trauma. Y'all, like, where they do that at? Fix our finances. We're going to have them give us advice on how to save our marriage, build a business, and become successful after watching a 45-second reel? Make it make sense, y'all. We live in a culture where looking successful is often more profitable than actually being successful. The person doing the work is invisible. The person talking, though, about the work gets all the attention. This is the world we live in now, right? The person studying quietly gets ignored. And the person filming themselves pretending to study becomes the influencer. We've confused performance with achievement. And we've confused visibility with value. And we've confused influence with expertise, y'all. We fact check restaurants harder than we fact check life coaches. Think about that. We trust strangers now with our minds faster than we trust them with our dinner. You can't demand trust while discouraging scrutiny, boo. You can't. Come on, Dr. Brian. Make it make sense. Is it ignorant or to question somebody's credentials? Or is it correct for me to verify the qualifications of people giving life advice? Especially if I pay for it. Is it ignorant to challenge public figures? Or is it correct to expect accountability from people asking for your trust? And more importantly, what point does accountability become jealousy? And at what point does calling everything jealousy become a way to avoid accountability? That's the conversation that nobody wants to have. What's more important, the degree, the experience, the results, maybe the influence? Let me know in the comments because I really want to know. This conversation is important, y'all, because, let's be real. You know what I'm saying? And now, while we're going into our second segment, I know y'all are getting tired of these grifters just like I am out here selling a dream, okay? Selling the dream. Now we get into our second segment, which is called Selling the Dream. Because everybody wants luxury. Everybody wants the six figures, right? Everybody wants financial freedom. Everybody wants passive income. Shoot, I know I do. Everybody wants to quit their job. Everybody wants to become a millionaire. But what happens when somebody starts selling the dream instead of the reality? What happens when the motivation starts sounding more like the marketing? And what happens when inspiration becomes the business model? Because in America, one thing, baby, that sells better than almost anything else is hope. Hope. Hope, baby. Because recently, entrepreneur and motivational speaker Stormy Wellington found herself in the spotlight just a few weeks ago after settling a lawsuit brought by the Federal Trade Commission. According to the FTC, Wellington made income claims while promoting MLM or multi-level, opportunities that weren't supported by the company's own income disclosures. The FTC alleged that the statement about helping people make six figures, seven figures, and creating dozens of millionaires were misleading. Now, to be clear, a settlement is not necessarily an admission of guilt, y'all, so remember that. But the conversation we need to have, y'all, this situation created is bigger than just one person. Because if we're being honest, we've all seen it. The millionaire coach, the business guru, that guy making thousands of dollars through Bitcoins and stuff like that, the mindset mentor, the entrepreneur promising financial freedom in 90 days is something we have seen for a long time, even before social media became a thing, y'all. The person's going to tell you that if you're not rich yet, you're simply not thinking big enough. It's you. You the problem. Crazy word. Now, at what point does motivation become manipulation? Okay? And at what point does inspiration become exploitation? Because, I don't know, y'all, it's looking crazy out here. And at what point does selling a dream become selling a fantasy? Because let's be honest, everybody loves a success story. I think we all do, especially if you're in America. Everybody loves hearing about the person who came from nothing, built a business, bought the mansion, bought a Rolls Royce. You know what I'm saying? Changed their life. Nobody wants to hear about the thousands of people who bought the course, joined the opportunity, attended the webinar, They bought the starter kit. They maxed out the credit card because, they was believing in everything that was being sold to them and never made a dime. We don't hear those stories. Y'all ever really notice that? Those stories never really go viral. Those stories don't get posted. And those stories definitely don't sell. Okay? Social media got everybody believing that they're one motivational speech away from becoming a millionaire. Shoot, I might be too. If you speech that way, bring that speech this way. Apparently, all you need is a vision board, a ring light like I got one right here, like I said, a podcast mic, 3 affirmations, a picture standing next to the Lambo, and that's it. Financial freedom unlocked. Okay? Meanwhile, your bank account is still looking like a missing person report. Ain't shit on there. Nowhere to be found. Most people don't want financial freedom. They want financial freedom without financial discipline. They want the millionaire results without the part-time effort. With the part-time effort, excuse me. They want to do part-time work, but millionaire results. They want luxury lifestyles with budget habits. They want success without the sacrifice. And that's exactly why these messages are powerful, because they tell people what they want to hear, not necessarily what they need to hear. We live in a culture addicted to shortcuts. You all see it. Lose 20 pounds in 30 days. Become a millionaire by next year. Make six figures from your phone. You ain't even got to get off your couch. Retire by 40. Everybody's selling the shortcut. Let's be real. Because nobody wants to hear about the long road. Nobody wants to hear about the 10 years of consistency. Nobody wants to hear about the sacrifice. And nobody wants to hear about failure. Nobody wants to hear about the discipline either. But I can guarantee you one thing. Everybody wants that cheat code. They want that recipe, baby. They want the sauce. And here's the part nobody talks about. The same people telling others to stop having an employee mindset are often making their money from employees. Y'all, the fuck? The same people telling you to escape the system built a business inside of a system. The same people telling you not to work a 9-to-5 need people working a 9-to-5 to buy their courses. It's wild, y'all. It's wild. Think about that. The easiest thing to sell in America isn't a product, y'all. It's hope. Because hope doesn't require proof. Hope doesn't require results. Hope only requires belief and desperation. And people will spend a lot of money chasing a dream. Especially when somebody makes that dream sound easy. Let me ask y'all something. Are MLMs legitimate businesses? Do y'all think so? Or are they still the modern pyramid schemes with just better marketing? Because when people fail in these programs, we never really hear, is it the company's fault or is it the participants' fault? Should influencers be legally responsible for income claims? Or should adults do their own research? If 99% of people don't achieve the advertised results, should those results be advertised at all? Like, for real. If Instagram was real, nobody would have a job, for real. Everybody would own seven businesses, maybe 6 businesses. Everybody would be an entrepreneur like they already are on social media. 6 Airbnbs here, 3 Rolls Royces here. Shoot, I'd have my private chef, a personal trainer. Everybody would have a luxury condo in Miami. And somehow still have time to post motivational quotes at 4:30 every morning. Come on, y'all. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. The easiest thing to sell is hope. That's why every scam starts with a dream. Come on. Like, everybody wants millionaire results, man. Very few people want millionaire habits. Is it ignorant to tell people they can become millionaires, or is it correct to encourage people to dream bigger? Is it ignorant to question success of coaches or success coaches, questioning them? Or is it correct to ask for proof before buying the promise? Is it ignorant to call these programs scams? Or is it correct to say some people simply don't put in that work? And at what point does motivation become manipulation? That's the conversation nobody wants to have. Would you rather hear an ugly truth that takes 10 years or a beautiful lie that promises success by next Tuesday? Let me know in the comments, y'all. Now, speaking of appearances versus reality, y'all, let's talk about one of the biggest hot topics as of recently and as of the past few years that's dividing the internet, if not just many people. Masculinity. Because apparently painted fingernails have become one of the most controversial issues in America, including thongs. And purses. I can't, y'all. Masculinity is now civil war, and we are in our third segment. Masculinity is now civil war. You know, society is bored when painted fingernails becomes breaking news. I mean, at least I would think so. Shoot, we got inflation. How we not talking about inflation? We not talking about homelessness. We not talking about how homelessness might now bring you to jail. Not the fact that groceries cost more than most people's first car payment or their first car payment. Like, we not talking about the fact that people are working full time and still can't afford rent. Nah. We talking about painted fingernails, y'all. That's what got everybody fired up right now, for real. Because apparently masculinity is under attack, and it has been. Again. At least according to the internet. Recently, rapper Boosie publicly criticized Chicago Bears quarterback Caleb Williams over his recent Madden 27 cover where he has on the painted nails. Immediately, you know, social media exploded. One side is saying Boosie's right, and the other side is saying, why a grown man worried about another grown man's fingernails? And I know y'all recently just seen Ruby Rose post up some thongs that's for everybody. Men, women, and children. Y'all, where are we going? Because I don't know about y'all, I like a manly man. And just like that, another culture war has been born, y'all. And out of all of this, what caught my attention isn't even the fingernails. It's not even the thong. It's just the entire image, y'all. It's the pose, the symbolism. You know what I'm saying? The reaction, the questions that people are asking, y'all. Like, we gotta really make it make sense. Like, I want y'all to see what this man really has on. For real, okay? This is the cover. Okay, so this is the nail polish, y'all. Let's see the nail polish. Okay, and I know y'all recently seen Shaq talking about he got his toenails chipped. Now, I wanted to just kind of just show y'all the pose that he has right here. All right? I don't think you guys are paying attention. Sometimes things are bigger than just what we're seeing it as. All right? And then, of course, we have this picture here. This gentleman is wearing a thong. And I know y'all seen the ASAP Rocky picture. That was questionable, too. And so, as y'all can see, Boosie says, when is enough enough? When is a woman with a voice going to speak up? When is another rapper going to speak up? At this point, you might as well tell your son to put a dick in his ass. Any man who wears this wants a D in his mouth. Simple as that, and you a punk. So, guys, I'm really trying to let you see here that this is becoming a little too over the top. And I got friends that's part of the community. And even for them, some of them, it's becoming a little over the top now, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like, Kind of is. And let's talk about the elephant in the room, y'all. I mean, we see the pose that he has, like the photo, the crossed arm pose. It's not just the fingernails, y'all. All right. Many people online immediately pointing out that I'm pointing out that the images here are very parallel to culture symbols, right? Masonic symbols. So some of y'all viewers see the pose and painted nails as harmless self-expressions. Others, like myself, see it as deliberate symbolism and messaging. Others see it as marketing strategies designed to create controversy and engagement, which is exactly what it's doing. You know, between this, the thongs, I mean, that's where the conversation gets really interesting, y'all. Because whether you believe the pose means something or not, we cannot sit here and pretend imagery does not matter. Corporations spend billions of dollars on branding. They have done it for a long time. You know, Michael Moore, the corporation, perfect example. If y'all go back and watch that, it'll explain colors, logos, advertising, psychology, messaging. All of those things are used by corporations. Why? Because images influence people. Like, let's keep it real. Which is why we're swiping 1,000 photos a day. It is an influence. That's literally the entire purpose of marketing. And the question is, are we ignoring symbolism? How docile have we become that now we can't see past the symbolism? And are we seeing symbolism where none exists? Maybe, maybe not. And more importantly, why does this particular image trigger such strong emotions? Shoot, I know why. Because I know what it's about, for real. And that's where we gotta talk about it. Because let's be honest, some people looked at this image and saw confidence. They saw nothing wrong with it. They saw individuality. They saw self-expression. Others saw the continued blurring of traditional gender norms, which is basically Boosie's stance on this. Others saw a challenge to masculinity, as well as myself, because as a parent, as a mother, as an auntie, and a future grandmother, this is concerning. And I think this is something that becomes a topic we need to talk about, and we need to continue to talk about, especially Black women, okay? Especially Black women. We need to start standing up and really talking about this, okay? Like I said, some saw this as, you know, blurring traditional gender norms. Some may have saw this as challenging masculinities, and others saw what they believed as cultural message aimed at young boys. Either way, the image didn't change. The interpretation has. Okay? The image has not changed over time. Whatever they're pushing, it has not changed. The interpretation has. Okay? The real question isn't whether culture influences children. Of course it does. We know that. We have all been children, and we have all been influenced in some way by music. Because we know music influences children. Movies influence children. Celebrities influence children. Social media influences children. At one point, art influenced children. Clothes, fashion, advertising, athletes. That's not controversial. The real question is what messages are being promoted and why? And who decides whether those messages are good or bad? Okay? Because nowadays we already know men can't cry. You know, the common thing has always been men can't cry. Men can't wear pink. Men can't order fruity drinks. Men nowadays gotta say pause. Men can't paint their nails. At this point, masculinity to me as a woman, and I thought being a woman was hard. Masculinity sounds exhausting, y'all. Being a man, I feel like in 2026 is exhausting. Pretty soon, somebody's gonna tell us real men can't use lotion. And let's be honest, some of y'all already believe that. Man, this world is crazy. And whether you agree with Boosie or not, a lot of people in the Black community are asking a deeper question, because What messages are being promoted to our young black boys? And why? And who's behind it? Because it's not necessarily us. What images are being celebrated? What behaviors are being rewarded? What values are being encouraged? And who benefits from all of those messages for real? Now, before people scream conspiracy theory, because I know that's where y'all quick to go, let's stay grounded. Culture absolutely influences behavior. The question isn't whether influence exists. The question is whether the influence is positive, negative, or neutral. And whether there's a purpose or mission behind it. And here's where things get funny to me, because the same people who saying it's just fingernails, girl, it's just a thong, it's just a purse, will also tell you representation matters. The same people who say imagery doesn't matter will spend millions of dollars creating imagery. The same people who say symbols are meaningless know exactly why companies invest so heavily on these symbols and these images and this imagery. So which one is it? Do images matter, or do they only matter when it's an image we agree with collectively? People spend more time debating about masculinity online than practicing it in real life, especially in 2026. Everybody wants to define masculinity. Very few people want to demonstrate it. Because masculinity isn't tested on Instagram, y'all. It's tested when responsibilities show up. It's tested when life gets hard. It's tested when your family needs you. Now let's really hear the real men show up and talk about that. Now it's not when somebody's getting ready to post a picture. That's not when that your masculinity gets tested, dog. Let me ask y'all something. Can a man paint his nails and still be masculine? Has masculinity evolved? Do y'all think it's evolved? Has society become too comfortable redefining everything? Or have we become too comfortable allowing other people to redefine everything for us? And are people reading too much into images and not the message? Maybe the biggest mistake isn't seeing symbolism everywhere. Maybe the biggest mistake is pretending that symbolism doesn't exist at all. The question isn't whether culture influences children. The question is who gets to decide which influences are good and which influences are harmful. Is it ignorant to question the messages being marketed to young people? Is it correct to ask what values we're passing to the next generation? Is it ignorant to worry about masculinity? Is it correct to recognize that healthy masculinity plays an important role in families and community? And at what point does concern become fear? And at what point does dismissal become ignorance? That's a conversation nobody wants to have, y'all. And I think this is something we definitely got to come back to very, very soon. All right? Because in 2026, the questions we got to ask is what defines masculinity? Is it strength? Is it discipline? Is it leadership? Is it protection? Is it emotional intelligence? Or something else entirely different? Maybe I don't know. Y'all got to tell me. Let me know in the comments. Because I already know this conversation is going to start a war for real. Especially based off some of my commentary. But I don't care. And while we're busy arguing about fingernails, of course, there's a much bigger issue that people seem strangely comfortable ignoring, y'all. Let's talk about that. Because the next story might be the most disturbing conversation of this entire episode, yo. Because overall, my biggest question is, when did we stop caring? When did we stop caring? This might be the most, uncomfortable because with everything going on, Epstein and the girls that were just found, 71 girls found in the sewage system in New York, upstate, I think it's upstate or central New York, is lost on a field trip. You know what I'm saying? Because now none of this is political. This is not about being controversial anymore. Because it forces us to ask a question about ourselves, a question most people don't want to answer, and that's when did we stop caring? And maybe even more importantly, when did we become so comfortable not caring? Because recently a video began circulating online a few days ago in regards to Erica Kirk, and during the discussion you could hear one of the people in the audience basically stating like, you know, Erica protects PDFs, you know what I'm saying? And then all she can respond is, you know, happiness comes within, you know, I'll pray for you, you need to go find happiness. But the most disturbing thing was a woman in the crowd, while the heckler is stating that she supports PDF, basically says, so, one word, 2 letters. And somehow it said everything, because when I heard that response, I was not shocked. Especially after she tried to play it off with some type of like Christian spiel at the end. I wasn't shocked, I was disturbed. When did the society become so numb, y'all? When did serious issues stop becoming serious? When did people become exhausted? More exhausted than outraged. Because I don't know about y'all, me hearing about people eating babies and touching babies and all types of stuff, I'm not feeling that, y'all. That makes me want to go and get my ratchet. You know what I'm saying? Because let's be honest, there was a time when certain topics immediately grabbed everyone's attention. Whether it had to do with children, abuse, you know what I mean, trafficking, corruption, exploitation, those weren't topics people casually dismissed. But today, people hear something shocking and immediately scroll or just say, so, just like old girl in the video. We've become a society that consumes tragedy like entertainment and then move on from it like it's a commercial before the commercial break. We're living in a time where somebody can expose corruption and the only comment they can say is so. A company can get caught lying, they gonna say so. We just bombed over there, so. A celebrity gets exposed, so. This child, you know, experienced some type of so. Oh, you know, them girls just came out the sewage, so. At this point, aliens could land in Times Squares while they celebrating the Knicks championship, and people would ask you, okay, so what? But what we getting for lunch? Come on, y'all. I don't think that people are necessarily evil. I don't. I think people are exhausted. We have been overloaded with information, and we're still getting overloaded with so much information. And we have been overloaded with scandal after scandal, overloaded with bad news, you know, murder and all this other, excuse the language, but every day it's another headline, another crisis, another outrage, another emergency, and eventually some people stop reacting altogether. Not because they don't care, it's because they're emotionally drained. And I think as a collective, we're emotionally drained, but this ain't the time for us to be asleep, y'all. This ain't the time for us to be asleep. The danger isn't disagreement. The danger isn't debate. The danger isn't even corruption. The danger is indifference. History shows us that society survived bad people. What society's struggle to survive is good people becoming apathetic and where they stop caring. Good people becoming silent. Good people becoming numb. Because when nobody cares, everything becomes acceptable across the board. And here's where things get uncomfortable, because people love posting about protecting children. People love posting hashtags. They love changing their profile pictures, love saying, think of the children. We are the world, like Michael Jackson said. Until it's inconvenient. Until it affects somebody they support. Until it affects somebody they admire. Until it affects their political side or their political party. Then suddenly everybody wants more evidence. What? Everybody wants more facts. Everybody wants to slow down. Give him a second. Give him a chance. That's funny, y'all. That's funny. Funny how that works. A society doesn't collapse when bad people exist, y'all. A society starts to collapse when good people stop being bothered. Think about that. Because evil has always existed. Corruption has always been around. It's always existed. The difference is whether people still care enough to confront it. Let me ask y'all something. Has social media made people more numb? Are people more overwhelmed? Do y'all feel overwhelmed? Are people simply becoming more selfish, especially with inflation and all these things going on? Do we care less today than previous generations? Or do we just express concern differently overall? And why do some issues get immediate outrage while others barely get attention? The average person can tell every detail about a celebrity breakup, every lyric from a trending song. They can tell you a piece of gossip from social media, but ask them about any issues affecting their community. And suddenly everybody's in an uproar. Everybody becomes a witness protection participant. I don't know that. I ain't hear nothing. I wasn't paying attention. Make it make sense. I don't know. Come on, y'all. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. The most dangerous response to evil isn't support, it's indifference. It's when you start picking and choosing. And, oh, no, maybe not him. Or maybe, nah, she okay. Nah, that's the most dangerous response to evil. Isn't support, it's indifference. We become a society that scrolls past things that should stop us in our tracks for real. It should make you really want to stop and go out there and do something about it. Resolve it instead of just watching and being a spectator. You know what I'm saying? Is it ignorant to say that society has become numb, or is it correct to recognize that people are overwhelmed? Is it ignorant to expect people to care, or is it ignorant? Is it correct to expect accountability from citizens living in a society? At what point does exhaustion become apathy, y'all? That's the conversation nobody wants to have. Nobody wants to have that. What issue do you think society has become way too comfortable in ignoring? Because I think there's plenty of them. Put it in the comments because I want to hear. Because there's plenty of them. Plenty of them. So, in our next segment, of course, you know what I'm saying? Speaking of uncomfortable conversation, let's talk about fame, y'all. Because a lot of people think that money, celebrity status solve problems, and it just doesn't. And in our next segment, our next story proves that fame does not fix character. It just puts your problems on a bigger stage. For real, for real. And one of the biggest lies society tells people is this. If I just had more money, if I just had more fame, if I just had a little more success, my problems would disappear. No, they wouldn't. You'd have bigger problems with a larger audience. That's all. That's it. In a comment section. Because fame doesn't fix character. Money doesn't fix character. Success does not fix character. It exposes character. Okay? And in our next segment, we're going to kind of just cover, Big Tigger, former BET personality. He's also a radio host currently. Big Tigger and his wife, they've been circulating publicly. His wife posted a few images showing injuries and made allegations involving abuse and infidelity and marital issues. Additionally, speculation online involving rumors regarding a co-host and alleged cheating. Now, before we go any further, let's be clear. Allegations are allegations. The facts are still being sorted out. We're still kind of hearing what's going on little by little, pieces by pieces. And everybody deserves fairness, but that's not really what I want to discuss because this story raises a much bigger question, for real, all right? There's been a lot of speculation around this story anyway. The story's a little odd to me because supposedly they say that his wife had a daughter that supposedly went missing recently or has been missing for 7 years now. As of recently as well, she's kind of recanted. His wife is recanting, basically stating that he didn't put his hands on it. This is kind of looking more like a mental health case on, the wife's end. He also just publicly made an apology to Francesca, who is the radio host, that his wife was alleging that he basically was, messing with. So, as I was stating, there's bigger fish to fry in this story aside from this situation, because I know that anybody who's around, the millennial age knows the story kind of alleged behind Big Tigger involving Superhead in her book back in the day and Bloody Sheets, and I'll leave it at that. I'm not going to go any further. Y'all do y'all research, okay? But my main question to all of this would really come out to be, why are people obsessed with celebrity relationships, especially just regular folks, and why do we assume fame automatically equals happiness? Because every time I hear a celebrity relationship fall apart, y'all be more shocked than I be. The internet is more shocked. They act so damn shocked. And as if celebrity status somehow protects people from betrayal or breakups or temptation and dysfunction and poor decisions and heartbreaks. And it doesn't, y'all. I feel like we've allowed the celebrity idea to feel like, oh my gosh, like they broke up, like it doesn't. And money doesn't eliminate problems. It just changes the zip code where it happened at, or where things happened at. Okay, as y'all can see. People think becoming rich solves relationship problems, and it does not. Money does not change that. Now, you might just argue in a bigger house. Instead of arguing and fighting over a Honda Civic, now you're fighting over a Bentley. Instead of arguing in a 2-bedroom apartment, you're arguing in a mansion. The argument didn't disappear. The square footage changed, that's all. A lot of people don't want love. They don't. They want the lifestyle. Especially social media. With social media, I'm going to say it again. A lot of people do not want love. They don't want love. They want the lifestyle. They want the relationship goals. And just like I said earlier, they want the shortcut. They want the shortcut relationship goals. They want the matching vacation pictures. They want the matching outfits, the matching luxury cars, the baby reveal party. But relationships are not built off pictures, y'all. And we know that. They're built off trust. It's built off communications, building those foundations, sacrifice, discipline, accountability. There's so much more to building a relationship than pictures and matching outfits, The same things people try to avoid everywhere else in life without taking accountability. It's the craziest thing in the world. You know what I'm saying? Social media has created unrealistic expectations. People don't compare their relationships to reality anymore. They're not realistic. They compare them to highlight reels. They compare them to the next person's post or the newest post that they've just seen. Everybody wants what they see online, but they don't see the arguments. They don't see, the black eyes. They don't see the infidelity. They don't see the resentment, the bitterness, the loneliness. They don't see the pressure, the mistakes, the work, because nobody posts that part, right? And here's where things get funny for real, because the same people screaming, mind your business, are usually the first people refreshing the comments. The same people saying, leave them alone, leave them alone, are already the ones rewatching the video and reposting it. Reading every blog and sharing every rumor. I mean, let's be honest. Celebrity culture survives because people claim to hate gossip while still funding it with attention. Make it make sense. What's really fascinating is how quickly the internet becomes the judge and the jury. One accusation, one post, one screenshot, and suddenly everybody has a verdict, right? Nobody wants the facts anymore. Nobody wants any of the details. Everybody wants the content first. Everybody wants to be first on liking the content or commenting on the content, but very few people care about being right or getting the right information. A lot of people want celebrity lifestyles. Very few people want celebrity consequences, because fame comes with scrutiny. Fame comes with pressure. Fame comes with this public judgment. And sometimes fame comes with people celebrating your downfall. And are y'all ready for that? Because that's a lot to deal with. It's a lot. Do celebrities owe the public explanations about their personal lives? Because I don't believe they do. Does fame make relationships harder? Maybe. Would you rather be rich or famous with no privacy or average with peace? That's a good one. That's a good one. And why are people so invested in the personal lives of strangers? Who knows? Instagram followers work harder than private investigators for real, and I might be one of them. The FBI might need 3 months because, baby, the internet need only 3 hours, honey. That's a fact. Somebody already found the screenshot, the old tweets. They done put the puzzle together and solved the mystery, y'all. A cousin's Facebook page, they done found the Facebook page they done found the blurry video from 2014. They done found your old high school photo, baby. The internet don't miss. They absolutely don't miss for nothing, y'all. Come on, y'all are undefeated for real. Sometimes people become so focused on achieving success that they neglect the things success was supposed to improve. Family, marriage, friendship, peace of mind, peace, health, character. What's the point of gaining everything if you lose yourself in the process for real? I don't want that. I know me, I don't want that. People want celebrity lifestyles until they realize celebrity problems come free with the package. Money doesn't change people, y'all. It reveals people. It does. It really does. Now, is it ignorant to think fame ruins relationship? Or is it correct to say fame simply exposes what's already there? Is it ignorant to care about celebrity drama, or is it correct to recognize that celebrity stories often reflect everyday human problems? Everyday people problems. Is it ignorant to think that money solves everything, or is it correct to admit that character matters more than status? And at what point does success become a distraction from the things that actually matter? That's the conversation nobody wants to have. Would you rather fame and fortune or peace and privacy? And be honest, because lots of people say peace until fame starts knocking on their door. And speaking of people trying to become something they're not, the next story might be the wildest story of the entire episode, y'all. For real, for real. Because one woman allegedly took reinvention to a whole new level. Nobody saw coming. And in this last segment, everybody wants to be, I'm going to call this everybody wants to be somebody else. Now, this might be the craziest story because honestly, the more I thought about it, the less I thought it was about fraud for real. The more I thought it was about identity and maybe a little bit of mental, sprinkle in a little mental health, no shade. Because if this story is true, which it is, it forces us to ask very uncomfortable questions. How unhappy do you have to be with your own life to create an entirely different one, y'all? Recently, the authorities in Brazil arrested a 37-year-old woman accused of convincing people that she was a 12-year-old girl. According to reports, the alleged deception lasted for more than a year. Okay? Authorities say she entered a church Authorities say she entered a church community claiming to be a runaway child. Community members reportedly supported her financially. A family welcomed her into their home, celebrated birthdays with her, and even began exploring adoption. Eventually, investigators say the entire story unraveled, and the internet immediately was asking, just like I was, how could people fall for this? Like, how did you get caught up in this? But I'm gonna be honest, that's not really the question I keep asking. Because the question I keep asking is, why would somebody do this BS in the first place? Okay? How unhappy do you have to be with your own identity to do this, y'all? To completely create a new one, y'all. Look at this. Okay? How unhappy you gotta be. Because let's be honest, this story sounds extreme. Okay? But is it really that different from what people do every day online? Let's keep it a buck, y'all. Think about it. Social media is filled with people pretending. Pretending to be richer, pretending to be happier, pretending to be smarter, pretending to be more successful, pretending their relationships are better or more perfect than yours, pretending they love their lives even. Maybe this story isn't just the extreme version of a problem that's already, maybe, let me reword that. Maybe this story is just the extreme version of a problem that's already everywhere. To be honest, some people got 3 different personalities already. Their LinkedIn personality, their Instagram personality, and their real personality. And of course, none of them know each other. And the hard truth is people don't always run from reality because they're evil. Sometimes they run because reality hurts. Sometimes they're lonely. Sometimes they're broken. Sometimes they're desperate to belong. Sometimes they're chasing a version of themselves they wish existed that doesn't excuse, but in reality, it don't excuse deception. But it may help explain it. It definitely may help explain it. We live in a society obsessed with reinvention. Every day somebody's telling you, oh my God, I became somebody new. I done dyed my hair. You know, rebrand yourself, recreate yourself, manifest yourself. Girl, you just, come on, transform yourself. But what happens when self-improvement becomes self-rejection? Right? Like the BBLs and the implants. What happens when self-improvement becomes self-rejection? What happens when people stop trying to improve who they are and start trying to become somebody else entirely? And here's what's funny. Society tells people all the time, be yourself, but then rewards them for being somebody else. People say, just be real, just be authentic. But authenticity doesn't get as many likes. I mean, we heard Charleston White say that, right? Being authentic doesn't always get attention. Authenticity does not always get celebrated. So people create versions of themselves because they think the world will accept it. And then they wonder why they feel disconnected. Ain't that that's some crazy stuff right there, for real. What's scary isn't that one woman fooled people. What's scary is how badly people want the story to be true, including herself. And that's crazy because not just herself, it's just even the other people who they wanted it to be true. Good people saw someone they believed was vulnerable. They wanted to help. They wanted to save somebody. And that says something powerful about human nature. But it also says something dangerous because compassion, right, without verification can become exploitation, just like we spoke about earlier in our earlier segment. Because one thing America gonna do, baby, is sell you that hope, honey. You already know, HOPE, sell that hope. We become a society that's obsessed with becoming somebody else. And instead of becoming a better version of ourselves, read that again, because that's the difference. One requires growth and the one requires pretending. So let me ask y'all something. Is this primarily a criminal issue or a mental health issue? Should mental illness reduce accountability in this particular case? Why are so many people desperate for belonging? Is social media making identity crisis worse? And how much responsibility do we have to verify before we trust? Because imagine pretending to be 12 years old for 14 months. I can't even remember my passwords for more than 14 damn days, y'all. I be trying. That ain't a lie. I be trying. But it's a full-time job for real. And now you got 14 to 20 characters for these baby. Miss me with it. The most dangerous lies aren't the lies we tell other people. They're the lies we tell ourselves. Because once you start believing your own story, reality becomes the enemy. For real. Social media has convinced people that becoming someone else is easier than becoming yourself. Everybody wants a fresh start. Very few people want to confront the reason they need a new one. So is it ignorant to see this as fraud? Or is it correct to see it as mental health maybe being a part of it? I don't know. But at some point, does reinvention become deception? That's really my real question. At some point, does reinvention become deception? That's the conversation nobody wants to have. Nobody wants to have that, guys. Now, of course, our favorite time of the night, the Ignorant Awards, okay? Now, the Ignorant Awards, welcome to the Ignorant Awards. You know what I'm saying? Because we've already laughed during this episode. We've argued, and we've already questioned society. Now it's time to recognize the people and stories that made us say, what the hell is going on out here? Welcome to the Ignorant Awards, where nobody wants to win, but somebody always does. All right? First award is Clown of the Week Award. Drum roll. The nominees for Clown of the Week Award goes to Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, her credentials being a controversy. Next nominee is Story Wellington and her FTC settlement. Next nominee would be Erica Kirk and her fans. And the last nominee would be old girl trying to be a 14 or 12-year-old over there in Brazil. Drum roll, please. Give me that card, baby. Give me that card. Let me see this. Okay, all right. And the winner of, hold on, Clown of the Week goes to, drum roll, Erica Kirk and her followers, honey, and the soul response. Because no matter what, and no matter where you stand politically, hearing allegations involving child exploitation and responding with so is absolutely insane, baby girl. Not because people can't disagree, but because that's the exact reaction that makes people question whether society has become numb. All right? Now, I'm going to let you do your acceptance speech. I'd like to thank social media, y'all, and the outrage fatigue and endless scrolling for making me possible. And thank the dude that popped my man in the neck. Thank y'all. All right, so now the next award goes to the biggest reach of the week. Nominee goes to Stormy Wellington's 60 Millionaires claims. Nominee for fake guru culture. We're going to put those fake guru culture people up there for biggest reach of the week. Biggest reach of the week is definitely going to Ruby Rose and A$AP Rocky for them thongs. So I'm going to give them the biggest reach because of how far that thong was up their ass in either of them pictures, okay? So I don't even want to read the rest because the biggest reach of the week goes to all y'all men out there wearing thongs. And to the dude that did the hang time, my dude, like he's hanging from the rim with the red thong. You get the biggest reach of the week, my dude, because you the clown for real too. Like, let's not, I can't. The Make It Make Sense Award nominees: buying courses from broke coaches. Nominee: arguing about fingernails for about 3 weeks. Nominee: Ruby Rose and her dude with the red thong. And the next nominee: following influencers without checking credentials. Drum roll, please. And the winner of Make It Make Sense Award goes to wanting millionaire results without millionaire habits. Everybody wants 6 figures. Nobody wants the 6-figure discipline. Everybody wants luxury. Nobody wants consistency. Come on. People don't hate hard work. They hate how long it takes. Come on now. Now, last but not least, the most correct take of the week goes to nominees: Culture Influenced Children, Money Reveals Character, We Fact Check Restaurants Harder Than Life Coaches, and the easiest thing to sell is hope. Drum roll, please, for the most correct take of the week. The easiest thing to sell is hope, y'all. Because every story tonight came back to the same damn thing. Hope. Hope to get rich. hope to get famous, hope to get validation, hope to become somebody else. Hope is powerful, but hope without discipline becomes disillusion and delusion, as we can see with baby girl, because guess what? She was hoping that heckler was not in the audience calling her a PDF lover. Okay? And of course, last but not least, y'all know who it goes to. The internet is the undefeated award, and the nominees go to Caleb Williams in the comment section, okay? And that Ruby Rose comment section, because that comment section is a key. Big Tigger investigators, okay? I'm shout out to them PI investigators on that Big Tigger situation. And the winner goes to the comment section, y'all. For real, like, y'all got me on the floor, because somehow the internet solved the Caleb Williams debate. They figured out the Big Tigger allegations. They piecing that up still. The Brazil fraud case, the Erica Kirk controversy, the FTC lawsuit, all before I get lunch tonight. And no facts, no credentials, no investigations, just vibes. And I can just say this, like, the internet is just too damn funny. You know what I'm saying? Too damn funny. And all I can say is, some people don't want success. They just want successful looking pictures. And that right there, that's how I wrap it up tonight, y'all. That is it. Tonight we talked about fake experts. We talked about influencers. We talked about millionaire dreams. We talked about masculinity. We talked about celebrity scandals. We talked about identity. We talked about society becoming numb. And if you're paying attention, every single story was connected. Different people, different headlines, different situations, same lesson. The fake expert wants the respect without the qualifications. The fake millionaire coach wants the success without the transparency. The culture wars want the attentions without the solution. The celebrity wants the fame without the scrutiny. The fraudster wants acceptance without authenticity. And all of it points back to one thing. Everybody wants the reward. Very few people want the responsibility that come with it. We live in a culture addicted to outcomes but allergic to process. Everybody wants the body. Nobody wants to go to the gym. Everybody wants the money. Nobody wants to actually have a budget. Everybody wants the marriage, but nobody wants to make the sacrifice. Everybody wants the platform. Nobody wants to take the accountability. Everybody wants the luxury, but everybody wants the luxury. Nobody wants the discipline. All right? And the truth is, most people don't fail because they lack talent. Most people fail because they lack opportunity. Most people fail because they quit when discipline becomes inconvenient. Because discipline is boring, right? Because discipline doesn't go viral. Discipline doesn't get likes. Discipline doesn't trend. Nobody posts the years of sacrifice. They only post the results. And that's why so many people are chasing the illusion. They're comparing their reality to somebody else's highlight reel or somebody else's new post. The older I get, the more I realize something. Success is rare, y'all. Success, is not rare. It's not rare, y'all. Discipline is. Honesty isn't rare. Accountability is. Information isn't rare. Wisdom is. Everybody wants to be extraordinary, but very few people are willing to do ordinary things consistently. Maybe that's why so many people are frustrated nowadays. Because social media sold people a fantasy. Or maybe that hope, a little bit of sprinkle of hope. A fantasy where success happens overnight. A fantasy where everybody becomes rich. A fantasy where everybody becomes famous. A fantasy where everybody wins. But reality doesn't work like that. Reality demands effort. Reality demands patience. Reality demands sacrifice. It demands accountability. And that's the part nobody puts on Instagram. They don't put that on TikTok. They're not going to tell you that. Some people don't want success. They want successful looking pictures. Like I said before, think about that. Because there's a difference. One requires discipline and the other requires a filter. If this is not it, this is Ignorantly Correct. I am your host, T. Anderson. That was Luxury versus Discipline. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you guys next week. I appreciate the love. And don't forget to subscribe, y'all. Appreciate y'all. One love.